Now, let me show you how to recall a scene from VSL. So let me pull up VSL real quick, and I'll double click on this icon, and now here are my scenes right here. Now, I'm going to tell you a story real quick, personal story about my wife. She's watching this webinar right now, so love you, baby. Brownie points, you know. So my wife was the worship leader's at our church's assistant for a while, and was the secretary basically for the worship ministry. And although we had a full-time sound man that would come and mix on Sunday mornings, for any other kind of thing that happened in the church, like who does sound for a wedding or a funeral, guess who it was? My wife, okay? And bless her heart, she is not a musician. She's not technical. She'd much rather write you a letter than send an email. Hates computers. And she would walk up to this big board with all these knobs and faders and just be in total distress. And, it was a bummer. But this is true of a lot of churches. You will have people that have to operate this equipment that are not musicians, that are not technical. They don't know anything about this. Well, that's where VSL really saves the day. Let's go back to the screen, okay? So let's say I need to recall a scene for the funeral, okay? Now, I showed you on the board. Let me show you how easy it is on VSL. I just go up to the funeral preset, and I click, and I'm going to drag it and drop it anywhere on the board. Boom, the board instantly changes. I mean, look how easy it is. I just click this preset, drag it over here. Click this preset, drag it over here. The board is instantly changing to all of these different settings. It's cool, huh? Okay, so that will really allow you, especially for your volunteers that have to touch this equipment, to be able to get around and switch scenes very easily. Okay, so let me tell you about the next thing we're going to talk about, and that is mixing wirelessly. And, this is something that PreSonus, I think we're probably the first digital console manufacturer at this price range to be able to offer a solution that will allow you to be able to mix wirelessly with an iPad. So this is the iPad app, StudioLive Remote. And this is the one that comes free on the Apple App Store. So here's all of my levels, on faders. If I want to, basically click on an individual channel and, grab an EQ, like let's say, here's my acoustic guitar, and I want to just grab the acoustic guitar right here and hit the EQ and start tweaking something. Well, look at the board. As you can see, I'm controlling the board from this iPad, and I can walk around and, basically be in the exact position. I think at one time in the bylaws of church construction, there was a law that you had to place the sound board in the worst possible place, up in some heinous balcony where you can't hear anything. And thank God that, churches are starting to be built with sound in mind. But, if you're one of these churches that basically your front of house mix position is in an area of the room where it sounds completely different from what the congregation hears, you will love this, because all of a sudden you can go down and actually influence the sound from wherever the people are. And it's a huge, huge benefit. The other thing that you can do with the StudioLive Remote is, let's say if I just want to look at one channel really big, like this acoustic guitar channel, just turn this portrait mode. Now it basically blows up just that one channel. So here's my gate for that channel, here's my compressor for that channel. If I want to assign that acoustic guitar to aux 2, here's my assignments to the auxes right down here. Okay, if I want to go to the kick drum right here on the right-hand side, I can just go up here to kick, and now I'm on the kick drum channel, And I did this all wirelessly, and it's really cool. So I can tell you right now, our sound guy has been using the iPad app now, and he will never, ever, ever, ever want to mix without it, because it literally changes your whole perspective on mixing. I once talked to another worship sound guy, and he told me that, you mean I can sit next to my wife in the pew and mix the service? Yes, you can. So thanks to the StudioLive Remote. Okay, So the next thing that we're going to talk about is one of the big things with the StudioLive, and that is its ability to record very easily. And like I told you before, PreSonus has really been sort of in the business of creating recording solutions first. So we wanted to make sure that our board had the ability to record, but recording was not an afterthought. So I'm just going to close this right quick. I'm going to open it up just like I would on a Sunday morning. And let's just say we want to record. Now, here's the thing with recording. It's like you almost have to have a different brain the old way to record the worship service, because your job as the front of house sound engineer is to make sure that people can hear, that the sound is right for the room. But in order to record the service, traditionally you have to deal with a whole other system, a whole other recording system with its own gains. So you could actually be mixing great in the room, but then the levels going to the or the volumes that are going to the recording solution might be overloading. Well, that's not ever going to happen with the StudioLive. The reason is that you have one gain stage on the mixer, and so basically, as soon as I adjust these gains to where they're not clipping or overloading for the house, basically they're set for the recording. So now I go to capture, I hit create session, I pick where I want to put that session, and I hit two buttons, arm all tracks, hit record, and we're recording. I didn't have to assign anything to anything. I didn't have to set up any menus, nothing. We're recording, and now I'm mixing. I'm basically not even thinking about recording. Right when the service is over, you can do several different things. You can export these tracks out. You can not only record individual tracks, but if you look down at the bottom, you also have the ability to record a stereo track. So you can actually do the stereo output of the board, or stereo aux send, or two of your subgroups, and make a instant duplication version, just a stereo recording, as well as multitracking. I think multitracking is really important for churches, and I'll tell you why, is that you just never know what Sunday would be the Sunday that you wish you would have been able to record, and not just record, have the ability to go back and remix and re-edit. I'm from Louisiana, and our company is based out of Baton Rouge, and our church was set up as a shelter after Hurricane Katrina for the families of the firefighters of New Orleans. Many of them were homeless after the hurricane, and they were living in our church. And our worship leader wrote an amazing song, and we had a prayer time one night with all of the families there, and he sang the song, and so many people wanted a copy of it. And at that time, it was years ago, it was 2005, way before the StudioLive, and we didn't have anything to give these people. And it just was one of those Sundays that, man, if we could have just recorded it, and not just recorded it, being able to really go back and remix and re-edit, it's huge, right? It's completely a part of the StudioLive solution. It's not an afterthought. We designed it to be easy to multitrack. Let me tell you something else, is hard drive costs. I mean, I can buy, how much is a 2 terabyte hard drive these days? Anybody? $150, 2 terabytes. I don't even know the math of how many Sunday mornings that would be, but it's a bunch. And it's a 2 terabyte hard drive. So you don't have any excuse to not multitrack anymore. It's really easy, and it's really inexpensive compared to where it used to be. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about with regards to the virtual, with capture and how it works is another benefit. It's not just for recording. It's for something we like to call virtual soundcheck. Now, let me ask you, to my audience here, how many of you all that mix live sound did a sound check within the last month? Raise your hand. Okay, you're lying. And I'll tell you why. Because I play in a church, and I'll tell you what the typical Sunday morning is, and this is not a sound check, okay? So it's a 9 a.m. service. You tell everybody to be there at 8 a.m., okay? The drummer's late. A couple of people are kind of straggling in. There's a buzz in the PA. There was a wedding on the Saturday before. You're going crazy. You're trying to get it together, right? The worship leader's going crazy because half the musicians are late, and he just says, okay, come on, let's run the songs. Everybody's playing at the same time, okay? If you want to play with the compression setting on your snare drum, can you get the drummer to stop, basically, hey, can you hit the snare drum for about 3 minutes and everybody else quit noodling? Does that ever happen? Okay, that's because we, sound people, are on the battlefield on Sunday mornings, and it's literally survival mode, and you're just trying to get it happening for Sunday morning. Okay, so that's the other big benefit of capture. What if I could actually have my band there all together on time, and I could make them not play, and I can only listen to one thing at a time? Well, now you can. So basically, all I have to do is basically engage these firewire return buttons. You see, when these are not engaged, it's the analog signal that you plug in from the jacks on the back that are coming into the board. As soon as I engage these firewire return buttons, I'm actually bringing in individual recorded tracks from, let's say, my last Sunday service into the board just as an analog signal. So now I hit play here, and I can kind of start bringing up my whole band. And I can kind of get a little mix happening. Not only that, let's say I want to work on the bass guitar sound. I can solo the bass, and now drop in a preset on it. Maybe I want to try a new sound on it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and find we've never tried this one, the bass slap preset. Recall, boom. Now we have a starting point. Oh, this is working, but too much compression. I can go ahead and kind of adjust it here, save it to a new place. Now I can go to the lead vocalist and mess with their compression settings. Basically, having your band there without them being there. And they're at your command for when you want them to play. This really allows you to be able to get the front of house mix, I would say, 95% dialed in. In today's world, especially in churches, so many churches are moving to the silent stage kind of concept, using in-ear monitors, electronic drums, or at least drum shields to kind of keep the stage volume down. When you hit play with capture and you start mixing your worship service like this as just a way to, play with different settings on the board and save new scenes, you will get 95% of the way there. And it's really, really cool. It's invaluable. And it'll actually change the way that you completely mix.